The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with the sounds of over 200 alien species. Blue-skinned diplomats with 4 arms shared bench space with floating gas creatures contained in special suits. Insect-like beings clicked mandibles while reptilian representatives hissed quietly to their neighbors. Ambassador Zextrol stepped to the center platform. His purple skin glistened under the bright lights, and his 3 eyes blinked nervously. The crowd grew quiet. "Esteemed members of the council," he began, his voice translator making his clicks and whistles into words all could understand. "I propose that we officially recognize Earth as a developing world worthy of protection under the Non-Interference Accord." The hall erupted. Some delegates shouted. Others slammed their appendages on their desks. A few simply stared in shock. "Order. I will have order." High Chancellor Vorex boomed. The ancient being's voice needed no translator. It seemed to bypass ears entirely and speak directly to the mind. The room fell silent. "Ambassador Zextrol, you propose protection for humans. They have barely left their own moon. They still fight wars among themselves. Many consider them little more than clever animals," the Chancellor said. Zextrol stood tall. "Yes, Chancellor. I believe we have greatly underestimated them." From the upper tier, a voice called out, "They will destroy themselves before they ever reach the stars." Many delegates nodded in agreement. "Perhaps," Zextrol replied calmly, "or perhaps they will surprise us all." Grand Admiral Korvax, a massive warrior with skin like polished metal, rose from his seat. His species, the Hegemony, controlled the largest military fleet in known space. "These humans are dangerous," he growled. "My scouts report they advance faster than any species we have ever encountered. They went from basic flight to space travel in less than 70 years. This is not normal." The hall fell quiet. Such rapid advancement was indeed troubling. Chancellor Vorex stroked his long, wispy beard. "This matter requires careful consideration. I will schedule an unprecedented 3-day debate to examine humanity's place in our galactic community." Meanwhile, on a small observation post orbiting Jupiter, Dr. Vemlar hunched over her display. The thin, reptilian scientist had spent 40 years studying humans from afar. Her claws tapped nervously on the metal desk as she scrolled through Earth's historical records. "This can't be right," she whispered to herself. She ran the search again. The same answer appeared. According to her data, humans had survived conditions that would kill any other known species. They had endured temperatures that should freeze blood, survived wounds that should be fatal, and continued fighting in situations where any reasonable being would surrender. Dr. Vemlar felt her scales rising in fear. She needed to speak to the council immediately. She sent an urgent message request to Ambassador Zextrol. "Found disturbing patterns in human history. Request emergency speaking rights before council. Humans are not what we thought." As the message transmitted across space, Dr. Vemlar looked at the beautiful blue planet on her view screen. What kind of creatures had evolved on that water-covered world? And what would the galaxy do when it discovered the truth? The second day of the debate began with Ambassador Zextrol standing before the council again. The purple-skinned diplomat had spent the entire night preparing his presentation. "Esteemed members of the council," he began, "today I will show you why humans deserve our protection and respect." The large screen behind him lit up with images of Earth's greatest achievements: the pyramids of Giza, the Great Wall of China, modern cities filled with light, spacecraft exploring their solar system. "Humans have existed as a civilization for less than 10,000 years, Zextrol explained. "Yet look at what they have accomplished." He showed paintings by Earth's masters, played music by Mozart and Beyoncé, and displayed mathematical equations that had helped humans understand their universe. "They create beauty," he continued. "They seek knowledge, and they advance at speeds that should be impossible." Grand Admiral Korvax stood up suddenly, his metal-like skin reflecting the room's lights. "This is exactly why they are dangerous," he shouted. "A species that learns this quickly cannot be trusted. They barely understand atomic energy, yet already they look to the stars. What will they be like in 100 years? In 1,000? Many council members nodded in agreement. I have studied over 500 developing worlds, Korvax continued. None have ever shown such rapid progress. It is not natural. Sextrol remained calm. Perhaps it is not common, Admiral, but is quick learning a crime? On the observation post near Jupiter, Dr. Vemlar worked frantically. She had been denied emergency speaking rights and told to compile her findings properly. Now she sorted through thousands of human medical records, military reports, and survival stories. Her assistant, a young blue-furred Centaurian named Melks, gasped at the screen. Is this accurate? A human child survived in freezing water for nearly an hour. Yes, Dr. Vemlar hissed. And here, a human male continued fighting after losing almost half his blood. And here, humans went without water for days in a desert. No other known species could do this. She sent another urgent message to the council, this time attaching video evidence. Her claws trembled as she typed. Humans possess physical and mental abilities beyond any classification in our database. Request immediate audience. Back in the council chamber, a small green attendant slipped a note to the High Chancellor. Vorx read it quickly, his ancient eyes widening slightly. We will take a short recess, he announced. When we return, we will hear from our lead cynoanthropologist, Dr. Vemlar, who has important information regarding humans. As the delegates filed out, Ambassador Zextrol approached Admiral Korvax. You fear them, Zextrol said quietly. The much larger Korvax looked down at the purple diplomat. I respect their potential, he corrected, and I protect the galaxy from threats. That is my duty. And if they could be allies instead of threats? Zextrol asked. Korvax laughed, a harsh metallic sound. No predator species has ever joined the council without first being defeated in war. Perhaps, Zextrol replied, humans will be the first of many things. As they spoke, Dr. Vemlar's ship raced toward the council station. In her claws, she held evidence that would change the galaxy's understanding of the strange creatures from Earth forever. The council chamber fell silent as Dr. Vemlar stepped onto the central platform. The reptilian scientist looked small and nervous in the massive room, her scales slightly pale from stress and rapid travel. Esteemed council members, she began, her voice steady despite her fear. What I am about to show you may change how we view humans forever. The main screen lit up with footage of human activities. A marathon runner crossing the finish line after 42 kilometers, a swimmer crossing the English Channel, a mountain climber reaching the top of Everest without oxygen tanks. These may look like simple physical achievements, Dr. Vemlar explained, but no other known species could perform these tasks. She tapped her data pad, and new images appeared. Medical scans of human bodies. Humans can continue functioning after losing 30% of their blood. They can survive with one lung, one kidney, or half a liver. They can heal from broken bones in weeks. Their bodies are incredibly redundant and resilient. Grand Admiral Korvax leaned forward, his metallic face reflecting the screen's light. Many species are physically tough, Doctor. The Cronus can regrow limbs. My own people can survive in vacuum for short periods. Dr. Vemlar nodded. True, Admiral. But humans have something else entirely unique. She showed new footage. Humans in emergency situations. A mother lifting a vehicle off her trapped child. A wounded soldier carrying his friend through gunfire. A disaster victim surviving days under collapsed buildings. Humans are persistence predators, she explained. The only known sentient species evolved from hunters who chased prey until it died from exhaustion. They do not give up. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Most council species had evolved from prey animals or omnivorous foragers. When humans face danger, Dr. Vemlar continued, their perception of time changes. They make decisions in what they call slow motion. Their bodies produce chemicals that block pain. They can keep fighting with injuries that would incapacitate any of us. A tall, blue-skinned delegate stood up. "Are you suggesting we should fear these humans, Doctor?" Dr. Vemlar hesitated. "I am suggesting we should understand them. Humans have a saying, 'Where there's a will, there's a way.' They believe they can overcome any obstacle through sheer determination." The screen showed a final image, Earth's wars throughout history. "And most concerning," she said quietly, "they have continuously fought each other for their entire history. They have developed warfare to an art form, yet they have never destroyed themselves. Instead, they always rebuild and advance." The council chamber erupted in shouted questions and concerns. Several delegates called for Earth to be quarantined immediately. High Chancellor Vorix raised his hands for silence. "We must consider this information carefully," he said. "If humans are as capable as Dr. Vemlar suggests, they could be either valuable allies or terrible enemies." From the back of the chamber, a new voice spoke. Everyone turned to see General Krathax of the Orion Defense Force, a legendary warrior rarely seen at council meetings. "I would like to speak about humans from a warrior's perspective," the scared veteran announced. "I have encountered them before." The room fell completely silent. No one had known that any military contact with humans had occurred. As General Krathax moved toward the platform, Ambassador Zex Troll watched with growing hope. Perhaps someone else understood what he had seen in the strange creatures from Earth. General Krathax moved slowly to the center platform. His body was covered in battle scars, and one of his 4 eyes was replaced with a cybernetic implant that glowed red. The massive warrior stood over 3 meters tall, his gray skin thick like armor. The council members watched in silence. Krathax rarely spoke at meetings. As the commander of the Orion Defense Force for over 200 years, he was the most respected military mind in the galaxy. "I have fought in 573 conflicts," he began, his voice deep and rough. "I have faced warriors from every corner of our galaxy." He tapped a code into his wrist device, and the large screen showed a classified military file. 30 Earth years ago, one of our scout ships crashed on their planet. The crew survived. We sent a retrieval team. The council gasped. Contact with developing worlds was strictly forbidden. Our team consisted of 12 elite soldiers with advanced weapons and stealth technology. Krathax continued. They encountered a small human group called Special Forces who were training in the area. The screen showed night vision footage. Alien soldiers moved through a forest, tracking the crashed ship. Then chaos erupted. The humans detected our team despite our technology, Krathax explained. What happened next was unexpected. The footage showed the alien soldiers being systematically outmaneuvered and captured, not killed, captured. These humans had primitive weapons, projectiles, and explosive devices, yet they adapted to our superior technology within minutes. They used the environment against us. They set traps. They moved in ways our tactical computers could not predict. Admiral Korvax leaned forward. How many human soldiers? 6, Krathax answered simply. Murmurs spread through the chamber. 6 humans captured 12 of our best soldiers. Someone asked in disbelief. Yes, Krathax confirmed. But what happened next was more surprising. The footage continued. It showed the humans providing medical care to injured alien soldiers. Then the humans helped repair the crashed ship, even figuring out parts of the alien technology. Finally, they escorted the aliens back to their vessel, ensuring they departed safely. They could have killed our soldiers. They could have kept our technology. They could have alerted their governments, Krathax said. Instead, they helped our people leave without detection. They understood that revealing our existence would cause panic among their kind. The general's red cybernetic eye scanned the room. In 10,000 years, he said slowly, I have never encountered a species I would less wish to wage war against. Humans do not just fight with strength. They fight with creativity and adaptability that borders on the impossible. He turned to Admiral Korvax. You are right to be cautious about humans, but I believe isolating them would be a grave mistake. If they ever unified their planet, and decided we were a threat. No fleet we could build would stop them. Not because they are stronger, but because they would never, ever stop trying to win. The council chamber remained silent as Krathax stepped down from the platform. High Chancellor Vorix stroked his wispy beard. "We will hear from senior historian Ilvos next," he announced. "Perhaps human history can provide further insights." As the council prepared for the next presentation, Ambassador Zextrol noticed that many delegates were now looking at the images of Earth with new expressions, not just fear, but also respect. Senior historian Ilvos moved gracefully to the center platform. His species, the Cronians, were known for their perfect memory and their ability to live for thousands of years. Ilvos himself had spent 3 centuries studying developing civilizations. "Esteemed council," he began, his voice musical and calm, "I have analyzed human history in great detail. What I found disturbed me deeply." The main screen displayed a timeline of human conflicts, stretching back through thousands of years. "Most species follow a predictable pattern," Ilvos explained. "They fight small wars with simple weapons. Then they discover more deadly weapons. After experiencing great destruction, they unify and end all major conflicts." He pointed to the timeline. Humans did not follow this pattern. They developed nuclear weapons capable of destroying their entire civilization. They used them twice. Then they simply stopped. The council members shifted uncomfortably. "Not because they formed a world government," Ilvos continued. "Not because they ran out of these weapons. In fact, they built thousands more. They just collectively decided not to use them while continuing to fight smaller wars." He showed footage of human soldiers in different conflicts throughout history. "Observe their behavior in battle," he said. "Humans will risk their lives to save enemies. They establish rules for warfare. They provide medical care to opposing forces." The screen showed soldiers helping wounded enemies, sharing food with prisoners, and respecting surrenders. Yet these same humans, Ilvos said, tapping his display to show new footage, will fight with unbelievable ferocity when necessary. The new images showed humans fighting against overwhelming odds, continuing despite severe injuries, using creative tactics to defeat superior forces. "Humans have a concept they call war crimes," Ilvos explained. "Actions so terrible that they are forbidden even in warfare. Most species either allow anything in war or avoid war entirely. Humans created a middle path. They fight when they must, with rules they choose." Admiral Korvax stood up. "This only proves they are unpredictable and dangerous." "Perhaps," Ilvos agreed. "But there is something else unique about them." The screen showed humans rebuilding after conflicts, former enemies working together, memorial ceremonies honoring fallen soldiers from both sides. "Humans can forgive their enemies," Ilvos said quietly. "Nations that fought terrible wars now trade and cooperate. This capacity for both extreme violence and extreme forgiveness exists in no other species we have studied." A small, insect-like delegate raised a limb. "Historian, what does this mean for us?" Ilvos looked around the chamber. "It means that if humans ever come to see us as enemies, they will fight with creativity and determination beyond our understanding. But if they see us as friends, they will defend us with that same passion." He closed his display. "I believe the question is not whether humans are dangerous. They clearly are. The question is whether we want them as enemies or allies when they inevitably join the galactic community." As Ilvos returned to his seat, Chancellor Vorix announced, "We will now hear from Chief Science Officer Plex Numa on human scientific capabilities." Ambassador Zextrol watched as the council members whispered among themselves. The debate was shifting, but would it shift enough? Chief Science Officer Plex Numa floated to the center platform. As a member of the Aetheri, she had no solid body, only a swirling cloud of blue energy contained in a special anti-gravity field. Her voice came from a small translator device that hovered in front of her. "Council members," she began, her voice crisp and precise, "I have analyzed human scientific development. My findings are concerning. The main screen displayed a graph showing technological advancement across various species. Most lines rose gradually over thousands of years. The human line shot upward at an almost vertical angle. Humans went from simple flight to landing on their moon in 66 years, Plex Numa explained. They went from basic computing to artificial intelligence in less than a century. This rate of progress has no equal in our records. She displayed images of human inventions throughout history. What makes humans unique is not just their speed of development, but their approach to problem solving. She continued, most species, including our own, rely on methodical testing and small improvements. Humans make intuitive leaps. The screen showed examples. The discovery of penicillin from mold, the development of relativity theory from thought experiments, the creation of new technologies by individual inventors working alone. They see connections that our most advanced AI systems miss, Plex Numa said. They dream solutions before they have the ability to build them. And then, remarkably, they find ways to build them anyway. A plant-like delegate with flowering buds instead of eyes raised a leafy appendage. Could this be random chance? Perhaps a few brilliant individuals? No, Plex Numa replied. When human populations have been isolated from each other throughout history, they independently developed similar technologies. Their problem-solving ability appears to be a species-wide trait. She displayed new data showing projected advancement curves. Based on current trends, humans will likely achieve interstellar travel within 200 years. They will develop technology equal to our current level in less than 500 years. This is unprecedented. Admiral Korvac stood again. All the more reason to contain them now, before they become a greater threat. Plex Numa's energy cloud pulsed with different colors. Admiral, I was skeptical too, but I found something else in my research. The screen showed human scientific archives and research papers. Humans share knowledge openly. They celebrate discovery for its own sake. When they learn something new, their first instinct is not to weaponize it, but to publish it for others to build upon. This, too, is unique. She displayed images of human medical advances, renewable energy systems, and environmental restoration projects. They used their creative ability not just for warfare, but for healing, for building, for solving problems that benefit all life on their world. Plex Numa's energy form dimmed slightly, indicating deep thought. I believe humans represent something we have never seen before, a predator species with the collaborative instincts of social creatures and the creative thinking of artists. They are dangerous, yes, but also potentially invaluable allies. As Plex Numa returned to her delegation, Chancellor Orcs announced, "We will next hear from lead psychologist Dr. Mindar on the human mind." Ambassador Zextrol noticed more council members looking thoughtful rather than fearful. Perhaps there was hope yet for his proposal. Dr. Mindar approached the center platform with small, careful steps. The lead psychologist was small in stature, with large black eyes that took up most of his round face. His species, the Novali, were known for their empathic abilities and deep understanding of other minds. "Respected council members," he began, his voice soft but clear, "I have studied the human mind for 20 years. What I discovered is perhaps the most disturbing thing about them." The main screen showed brain scans of various species responding to danger. In most cases, certain areas lit up showing fear responses. All known sentient species react to danger in similar ways, Dr. Mindar explained. When faced with threats, brain function decreases. Thinking becomes simpler. Decision-making becomes more conservative. He tapped his control pad, and new scans appeared, human brains under stress. Humans are different. When facing danger, many humans show increased brain activity. Their thinking becomes more focused and often more creative. They call this rising to the challenge. The council chamber was completely silent now. "This is utterly unique," Dr. Mindar continued. "Humans often perform better under pressure. They seek out challenges voluntarily. They put themselves in dangerous situations for what they call fun. The screen showed humans climbing mountains without safety equipment, diving into ocean depths, racing vehicles at high speeds, and jumping from great heights with thin fabric wings. Their entertainment, the stories they tell each other, frequently feature apocalyptic scenarios, deadly monsters, and world-ending threats, Dr. Minder said, displaying movie posters and book covers from Earth. They imagine terrible dangers as a form of enjoyment. A delegate from the back called out, "Are they insane?" Dr. Minder shook his large head. "No, they are psychologically healthy by their own standards. This is normal for them." He showed video clips of humans laughing during frightening situations, making jokes in emergencies, and remaining calm in disasters. Most remarkably, humans have evolved to find comfort in chaos. While most species seek stability and predictability, humans become bored and restless without challenges. They deliberately seek out the unknown. Dr. Minder displayed one final set of data. Their capacity for hope defies rational analysis. Humans will continue fighting for survival with less than a 1% chance of success. They refuse to accept defeat even when defeat is statistically certain. He looked around the chamber, his large eyes blinking slowly. "In my professional opinion, this psychological profile, this ability to thrive under pressure, to find strength in fear, to hope beyond reason, makes humans uniquely dangerous, but also uniquely valuable. They see possibilities where we see only problems." As Dr. Minder returned to his seat, Admiral Korvac stood once more. "We have heard much about human abilities," he said, "but has anyone actually lived among them? Does anyone truly know how they think and feel from direct experience?" A voice called from the side of the chamber. "I have." Everyone turned to see Ambassador Trilix of the Aquarian Worlds rising from her seat, water dripping from her blue-scaled skin. "I have lived among humans for 30 years, she announced, "and I wish to offer a different perspective." Chancellor Vorix nodded. "We will hear Ambassador Trilix's minority report next." Ambassador Trilix moved to the center platform, her movements fluid and graceful. Water droplets fell from her blue scales, creating small puddles as she walked. The Aquarians needed to keep their skin moist at all times, and Trilix carried a thin film of water over her entire body. "Council members," she began, her voice melodic with a slight gurgling quality, "I have a unique perspective on humans. For 3 decades, I have lived among them in disguise." Gasps echoed through the chamber. Extended covert contact with developing worlds was strictly forbidden without council approval. "I know this violated our laws," Trilix admitted, "but my people believed understanding humans was too important to leave to remote observation." She tapped a control, and the screen showed images of her living on Earth, wearing special makeup and clothing to appear human, working as a marine biologist, interacting with human colleagues and friends. "I shared their homes. I ate their food. I celebrated their holidays. I attended their funerals," she said. "I came to know them not as test subjects, but as people." Admiral Korvac's voice boomed across the chamber. "This is outrageous. You risked exposure of our existence to an unprepared species." Trilix faced him calmly. "Yes, Admiral, and I would do it again, because what I learned could not be discovered from a distance." She showed footage of humans helping each other after natural disasters, digging through rubble with bare hands to save strangers, forming human chains to rescue people from floods, sharing limited resources during emergencies. Humans possess a quality they call empathy, the ability to feel another's pain as their own. Trilix explained, "All species care for their own children, their own families. Humans extend this care to strangers, even to other species." She showed humans rescuing animals from danger, creating wildlife preserves, and nursing injured creatures back to health. They fight for abstract principles like justice and liberty with the same passion they fight for survival, she continued. They create art and music that can move them to tears. They celebrate diversity rather than fearing it. Trilix's voice grew more passionate. Yes, they can be violent. Yes, they can be ruthless. But they are equally capable of profound compassion. I have seen humans risk their lives to save creatures they could easily eat for food. I have seen them welcome strangers into their homes during hardships. She looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of different delegates. Most importantly, humans can change. When presented with new evidence, they can alter beliefs they've held for generations. This adaptability extends to their minds, not just their bodies. Admiral Korvac stepped forward. Ambassador, you sound as if you admire these creatures. I do, Trilix replied without hesitation. In many ways, humans represent what we all aspire to be: curious, brave, compassionate, and endlessly adaptable. They have flaws, certainly, but their potential is unlike anything I have seen in my 200 years of life. As Trilix returned to her seat, the council chamber erupted in heated discussions. Some delegates seemed swayed by her words. Others remained skeptical. Chancellor Vorix raised his hands for silence. We will take a brief recess before our final deliberations and vote on Ambassador Zextrol's proposal. As the delegates filed out, no one noticed the small red light blinking on the emergency communication panel. When the council members returned from their recess, a tension filled the air. Many delegates had changed seats to sit with those who shared their views on humans. The chamber had divided into clear factions. Chancellor Vorix took his position at the high podium. We will now vote on Ambassador Zextrol's proposal to protect Earth under the Non-Interference Accord. Before he could continue, the emergency communication panel's red light began flashing more urgently. A sharp alarm sound cut through the chamber. What is the meaning of this interruption? Vorix demanded. A young communications officer rushed to the center platform, his green skin pale with fear. Forgive me, Chancellor, but we've received an emergency transmission from the border outpost in Sector 7. The main screen flickered to life, showing a damaged space station. Parts of it were on fire, and debris floated in space around it. An older officer with a bloodied face appeared on screen. This is Commander Vexnor of Outpost Zeta, he gasped. We are under attack by an unknown force. Massive ships. Technology unlike anything we've seen. They've destroyed 3 defense fleets already. The council chamber erupted in panicked voices. Silence, Vorix commanded. Commander, identify these attackers. The commander's image flickered. They call themselves the Void Dominion. They say they've returned to reclaim the galaxy. Many of the older council members gasped in horror. The Void Dominion was an ancient enemy, thought to be extinct for thousands of years. Legend told of their cruelty and overwhelming power. How many ships? Admiral Korvax demanded. Hundreds, the commander replied. Possibly thousands. Our sensors can't track them all. They're moving toward the core systems. The transmission cut off suddenly. Panic spread through the chamber. Chancellor Vorix raised his hands for calm. We must organize our defenses immediately. Admiral Korvac stepped forward. I will mobilize the combined fleet, but against this many ships, his voice trailed off. Everyone understood. Even with all their advanced technology, the council races couldn't match such overwhelming numbers. In the midst of the chaos, Ambassador Zextrol walked calmly to the center platform. The room gradually quieted as delegates noticed his strange composure. Esteemed council, he said, his voice steady, now I must reveal the true reason I proposed Earth's protection. He tapped his control pad, and the screen displayed tactical simulations. My people have been monitoring the Void Dominion's return for years. We ran thousands of simulations on how to defeat them. Zextrol's 3 eyes scanned the room. Every simulation ended in our defeat, except one. He showed a new simulation where a small fleet with unusual tactics managed to stop the much larger Void Dominion force. The only successful strategy came from studying human military history, Zextrol explained. Their unconventional thinking, their ability to function under pressure, their refusal to surrender against overwhelming odds. These are exactly what we need. Admiral Korvax stepped forward. Are you suggesting we ask humans for help? They barely have space travel. No, Zextrol replied. I'm suggesting we use human strategies, human thinking. And for that, we need to study them up close, with their knowledge and cooperation. The chamber fell silent as understanding dawned. We don't need humans to fight for us, Zextrol continued. We need to learn to think like them. Chancellor Vorex stroked his beard, eyes wide with realization. You propose to reveal ourselves to humanity. Yes, Zextrol said simply. It is time. The council chamber had never been so quiet. The delegates looked at each other, then back at Ambassador Zextrol. Admiral Korvax broke the silence. Even if your simulations are correct, we cannot simply land on Earth and introduce ourselves. The shock could destabilize their entire civilization. We don't have time for slow contact protocols, Zextrol replied. The Void Dominion will reach the core systems within months. We need human insight now. Chancellor Vorex raised his hand for attention. Let us vote. The proposal is now changed. We will not merely protect Earth, but reveal ourselves to humanity and request their alliance against the Void Dominion. The voting was quick and surprising. With the threat of the Void Dominion looming over them, even the most cautious delegates voted in favor. The final count was unanimous. It is decided, Chancellor Vorex announced. We will send a diplomatic mission to Earth immediately. Admiral Korvax stepped forward. I volunteer to lead this mission. Murmurs of surprise spread through the chamber. Korvax had been humanity's strongest critic throughout the debate. Are you certain, Admiral? Chancellor Vorex asked. You did not seem fond of humans. I respect strength, Korvax replied simply. And if Ambassador Zextrol's simulations are correct, we will need all the strength we can find. 1 week later, a sleek silver spacecraft descended through Earth's atmosphere, landing on the grounds of the United Nations headquarters in New York. News cameras from around the world broadcast the historic moment as the ship's door opened and Admiral Korvax stepped out, followed by Ambassador Zextrol, Dr. Vemblar, and General Krothax. In a secure conference room, they met with Earth's leaders. The humans showed remarkable calm considering the circumstances. After the initial introductions, Admiral Korvax explained the threat of the Void Dominion. Their fleet outnumbers ours 5-1, he said. Their technology is advanced beyond our own. By conventional tactics, victory is impossible. The human representative, a woman with dark skin and silver hair, listened carefully. And what exactly do you want from us? We have no ships that could help in your battle. We don't need your ships, Admiral Korvax explained. We need your minds, your strategies, your unique way of thinking. You're saying you want human military advisors? The representative asked. Yes, Ambassador Zextrol said. Our simulations show that human unpredictability and creative problem-solving could be the key to defeating the Void Dominion. The human leaders looked at each other, then back at the aliens. Admiral, the human representative said, your reports suggest the odds are completely against us. The Void Dominion has destroyed 3 of your defense fleets. They have superior numbers and technology. By any reasonable calculation, this is a hopeless fight. Admiral Korvax nodded grimly. That is correct. The human representative smiled suddenly, surprising the alien delegation. Good, she said. Throughout our history, humans have accomplished the impossible by simply refusing to acknowledge it was impossible. The Void Dominion has never faced a species like us before, and that's exactly why they should be afraid. The alien delegates exchanged nervous glances, finally understanding why their debate about humans had ended in both shock and fear. They hadn't found allies to fight alongside them. They had found teachers who would show them how to fight in ways the galaxy had never seen before. And for the first time since the Void Dominion's return, Admiral Korvax felt something he had almost forgotten: hope.